Jimmie Johnson spent his whole career fighting to earn his place on the track. Now his spot in the Daytona 500 is guaranteed before racing even starts. Why would NASCAR change the rules for one of its biggest legends? The Daytona 500 is not just another race on the schedule. It is the most difficult event to qualify for and the most unpredictable race NASCAR runs all year. The entry list regularly exceeds the available starting positions, forcing drivers into a high-risk qualifying process where one mistake can end an entire week. Even former champions and past winners have been sent home before Sunday. In recent years, that risk has increased as the field has become more competitive and part-time entries have become stronger. Johnson has experienced that reality firsthand. Superspeedway racing removes much of the control a driver normally has. Drafting partners change without warning. Wrecks happen suddenly. And survival often matters more than speed. At Daytona, drivers do not just race the track. They race the numbers, 40 spots, too many cars, no guarantees. The Open Exemption Provisional exists to address that problem in specific circumstances. NASCAR designed the rule to allow accomplished drivers with exceptional careers to participate in marquee events, even if they are not running full-time or do not have charter protection. The Provisional does not provide championship points. It does not offer prize money advantages. It does not affect competition once the race begins. It simply guarantees entry into the race. Legacy Motor Club applied for the Provisional early, and NASCAR approved it without hesitation. Johnson qualifies under every requirement of the rule. He is a 7-time Cup Series champion. He is a 2-time Daytona 500 winner. He is one of the most successful drivers in the history of the sport. His absence from the Daytona 500 would not reflect competition. It would reflect chance. This decision allows Johnson to prepare differently without the risk of elimination. His team can focus on race setup rather than qualifying survival. Superspeedway racing demands patience and awareness. Drivers who are worried about simply making the field often take unnecessary risks. Removing that pressure changes how a driver approaches the week. Johnson will still compete in the dual races. His finishing position will still help determine where he starts on race day. His performance still matters. The difference is that a crash will not erase his entry. His week will not end before the race begins. This distinction matters at this stage of his career. Johnson is no longer chasing championships. He is not trying to prove his ability. His record is complete. What remains is the experience of racing itself and the opportunity to compete on his terms. The Provisional allows that without placing unnecessary weight on a process that has little to do with driving skill. The decision also reflects Johnson's evolving role in the sport. He is not just a driver. He is an owner and a leader within Legacy Motor Club. His presence at Daytona provides visibility for the organization and stability for sponsors and partners. Planning becomes simpler when entry is guaranteed. Engineering decisions become clearer when the focus is Sunday rather than Thursday night. There has been criticism of the rule. Some fans believe every driver should qualify the same way. Others argue that guaranteed spots undermine fairness. NASCAR has faced these arguments before. The sport has always balanced competition with visibility. The Provisional does not replace qualifying. It supplements it in rare cases. The rule is limited. It is not available to anyone who requests it. It exists for drivers whose careers have defined the sport. Johnson fits that description without debate. His participation adds value to the event without altering its competitive integrity. The Daytona 500 remains unpredictable regardless of how a driver enters the field. Johnson is not protected from crashes. He is not protected from mistakes. He is not protected from the pack. Once the race starts, the Provisional no longer matters. What it changes is the lead-up. Johnson can race with patience rather than urgency. He can manage risk rather than force it. In superspeedway racing, that difference can be decisive. There is also a broader context to this decision. NASCAR is navigating how to honor its history while adapting to modern realities. Fields are tighter. Business structures are more complex. The sport depends on recognizable figures to maintain continuity. Keeping legends involved does not weaken competition. It strengthens identity. Johnson represents an era of sustained excellence. His career spanned multiple generations of cars, rules, and rivals. Allowing him guaranteed access to the sport's most important race is not a concession. It is an acknowledgement. For fans, the certainty brings clarity. They know Johnson will be there. They can focus on the race itself, rather than speculation about whether a major figure will disappear before Sunday. The Daytona 500 thrives on stories, and Johnson remains one of its most meaningful. For Johnson, the Provisional offers something different. It offers control. His final NASCAR appearances are no longer dictated by randomness alone. He can choose his races. He can prepare properly. He can compete without distraction. That does not diminish the challenge. Daytona remains unforgiving. The pack remains dangerous. The margin for error remains thin. The only thing removed is the possibility that the race excludes one of its most accomplished drivers before it even begins. When the green flag waves, Johnson will line up like everyone else. The draft will decide his fate. The same risks will apply. The same chaos will unfold. The Provisional will no longer matter. But the decision ensures that the story includes him. That presence carries weight beyond one race weekend. When Jimmie Johnson lines up at Daytona in 2026, it serves as a reminder of what long careers once looked like in NASCAR. Careers built slowly, sustained through consistency, discipline, and years of earned respect. His return is not about reliving past glory. It is about maintaining a connection between generations of fans who watched him dominate and those who know his name through history books and highlights. For younger drivers, Johnson's presence in the field is not a threat. It is a reference point. Many of them grew up watching him win championships, set records, and redefine what sustained excellence looked like in the modern era. Racing alongside him at Daytona places their careers in a wider context. It reminds them that success in NASCAR is measured not just by one season, but by longevity and professionalism. For NASCAR itself, the decision reflects a deeper understanding of its audience. Fans do not just tune in for competition, they tune in for meaning. The Daytona 500 is strongest when it connects the past, present, and future in a single event. Ensuring that figures like Johnson are part of that story strengthens the race rather than weakening it. There is also a personal side to this moment. Johnson no longer races with something to prove. His championships cannot be questioned. His legacy is secure. What remains is the simple act of racing because it still matters to him. The Provisional allows him to experience that without distractions created by modern qualifying structures. When the field forms up and the crowd rises, Johnson will not be treated as an exception. He will be another driver in the pack facing the same risks as everyone else. The difference is that his journey to that moment was protected from chance. The Daytona 500 does not promise fair outcomes. It promises opportunity. In 2026, that opportunity includes one of the most important drivers the sport has ever produced.